Remember how I asked you
It's funny.
if you thought life was a tragedy or a comedy? And you said comedy. Or life,
It's a joke,
you said
man.
life is
Like,
a joke.
everything's so literally. This is the funny thing about ENTPs and emotions, okay? ENTPs are emotional, okay? Bam, I said it! We're emotional beings. But,
No, I'd agree.
ENTJs are
but we are quite hesitant to confront it because then we lose all of our talents. We lose all of our, I guess,
power.
attraction, our appeal. Because I think people are attracted to the fact that because we say the things that we say without hesitation, that people like us, and we are attention-seeking people pleasers. So like we want to be liked. So you see, I'm like crying inside, but like I'm laughing right. So like it's hard for me to confront it. Like it's hard for me to like admit that I'm sad. It's hard for me to admit that I'm hurt because like if I do, then people will not like me, and that hurts, man. Like it hurts more than confronting these emotions. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna play it off cool. And like most of the times, we are pretty optimistic too. Like we are generally optimistic people. So once we crack jokes here and there while we're having this conversation, and we see the person lighting up, then like we know that we kind of like succeeded in our plan to like lighten up the mood. And like usually it goes well. Like 90% of the time, I would say, like we end up like happy. Both parties leave happy. But yeah, we are emotional. Very.
So if somebody knew that about you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Wait, are you
for
crying
asking.
right now? Oh no! It must be the hot. It must be the soup. Notice how we're laughing about an emotional.
Yeah, I know. I'm okay.
I feel you.
I'm a tough cookie.
And then you're dying on the inside. Yeah, I think.
And David's already thinking about what to talk about next. Like this is the reality, okay? This is the reality of our lives. We're just gonna work until we die. So maybe this is what we signed up for. He's gonna make us work until we die. This is our fate. This is our fate. I can't even cry because he doesn't let me.
I think.
Okay.
Maybe I cry, but I do it when I'm completely alone. Or like when
I cry every day. You don't know.
So we all do it when we're alone, but we just don't tell anybody, so don't let the secret get out.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm gonna let the whole world
delete
know.
this whole video.
People say this to me all the time, like, do you ever cry? Because I've never seen you cry in my life, even like in the most emotional situations, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna tell you, but yeah, like I do, but like, never would do it in front of people. Like, no. I would die.
Yeah, and I think with FI users, isn't it even like you guys are more emotional? Like, how does FI? I mean, even though I've done my cognitive, video,
one of
my
how
does it manifest?
One of the biggest things is I hate emotional manipulation. Like I was at this meeting today, and it was all women.
Yeah,
and all very emotional women. And
right.
I was sitting here, and I was like, oh my goodness, and they were all crying, and I just number one, I didn't know how to react to that. Because I feel like when people start crying, they're trying to manipulate the other people, and everybody else's eyes well up, and they just know how to console the person. I hate that. I just it bugs me for whatever reason.
Doesn't it feel like you're being pitied? Like you're kind of being empathize, kind of sympathize to the point of them belittling you?
Yeah, yeah. I don't like that position. I just don't. And so I'll try to just leave the situation, or just I'll shut down. I can't handle that.
I don't know. There's something about when people try to sympathize me, I feel like I just feel weak. And like I know that they mean it in a good way. Like I know that they want me to feel better, but it's like just me admitting that I'm sad. It's just like there's something so like
it belittle. Yeah,
it hurts my ego a little bit. I'm like,
yeah.
Gee, you're a tough cookie. Like you don't let them know your weakness, you know? So it's like it's just like I know that they're trying to like make me feel better, but it's like the act of being like sympathized makes me feel weak, even though that's not healthy. I don't think that's healthy at all.
I don't know. Where has emotions ever gotten you anywhere in life? I mean, that's what I always say. When people are like, "Oh, it's healthy to," I'm like, "Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know everything, but I don't see anything like super valuable come out of it."
I see the value.
When someone has a meltdown, I don't see anything like valuable come out of it.
Right. I guess
we just insulted every NF.
No, it's like I think I see. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have FE. Maybe this is where the difference comes in. Because when I see people crying, I feel for them in a sense that I want them to be happy. Like I want to make them feel better. But you guys don't have that, right? Because you guys are like, oh, like no, obviously you guys are sad about it.
I don't want people to be sad necessarily, but like I always, like I said, when I'm like adults are crying, I just think it's kind of like emotional manipulation. I don't know how to explain it, and it might sound really cold to say that.
With that,
it might sound really cold to say that, but I'm like, you're an adult. I'm an adult. You can control your emotions. Like, let's figure out a way to fix this problem instead of crying about it. Because some people, that's like, and that maybe that's what bugs me. Because some people will come to a place in their life where they're like, something's coming apart. Okay, well, their way of dealing with it is crying about it, and then they move on. Like they don't ever like fix the problem. Crying about it makes it feel fixed to them, and like I don't ever understand. I'm like, your problem's not fixed. You just cried about it.
Because for you guys,
it feels like closure for them, but it's not closure for me.
Right. I guess because for you guys, the reason why you guys feel emotional in the first place is because you weren't able to get to the solution. And once you guys get to the solution, then it's like a huge relief. And because that will be less anxiety triggering for you guys. And that's like, you know, what you guys are the most stressed about. Whereas people with, you know, FE are more, not even FI or FE, just people who are emotional, who are down, they just need to be comforted. I think it's the feeling of being accepted for their vulnerabilities is maybe like what's so comforting for them. Whereas for us, it's like, that's not something that we value at all. Because what we value is the resolution. What we value is the outcome. What we value is the goal, the achievement of our goals. And like anything aside from that is like unnecessary. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard to comprehend, though. It is hard to comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm the opposite of both of you. I remember how I said last time I'm like a hybrid between you both, the extroverted and the judger, which you both. And this is another interesting, like how you have your shadow functions. You would both be the shadow type of each other, the INTJ and the ENTP. And the INTP.
That's why you can read my thoughts.
Yeah, I know.
and the INTP would be mine. I think. Well, it's interesting hearing you both talk about feelings because. And how you're so taken with that topic. For me, it's just whatever. Maybe because feeling is my last trait.
It is.
Well, I'm talking about it today because I just, like I said, I came from this like 10-hour meeting that like, and it was dealing with so much emotional stuff, and I was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
I can totally see that. Like,
I suppose for
10 hours. Oh my god.
When it
was like a training meeting thing.
Holy crap.
when I see
what do you do? Like, do you cry at plants? Like, do you cry about like how the plants are dying and stuff?
No.
Like, oh my god, the plants are dying.
No, they are crying.
Everyone's all crying in the room.
They are crying about that right now because the weather is so bad here, and we can't sell plants to anybody. Yeah, they are crying about that at the moment. But no, what I'm saying, this was a separate thing outside of my work. But no, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, whoa, why would they cry? Anyway, sorry, David. Okay. I'm like very distractible.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, just like popped into my mind that vision.
Of course.
Go ahead.
I'm used to it.
I know. Sorry.
So when I don't know, when I see someone hurting, I can definitely understand that person is intensely overwhelmed by a feeling or a mix of feelings, right? Whether they're happy and sad at the same time, or kind of like frustrated but like disgusted at themselves for being so emotional in that moment. And for me, I just see it as a momentary state where they're feeling these feelings that are taking over their ability to function rationally and be in this calm state. And so I guess I try to find or weave a solution that will help them go back into that state of calmness. So there are the 6 universal emotions are happy, sad, anger, disgust, surprise, and
disappointment,
and fear.
Sorry, that was mine. That was mine.
No, that's mine right now too.
I know. That's my number 1. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
So those are the 6 universal emotions, and you know that film Inside Out by Disney? That's what those characters are based on, the 6
Oh yeah, okay, now I get it. The
Pixar.
blue face, right?
Yeah. The blue,
yeah, okay.
the yellow, the red.
Yeah.
Cool. And so using those 6 emotions, I divided them into 2 groups. There's the excited but chaotic emotions, and then there are the...
Is that me?
No, and then there are the kind of lethargic and obsessive emotions. The first group, the excited and chaotic, would be happy, anger, and surprise. And then the lethargic, obsessive emotions would be fear, sadness, and disgust. And so imagine there's this lever mechanism which represents your emotional state. Once you feel the chaotic, excited emotions, the lever, I guess, moves up towards that state of chaotic, and you can't think rationally. You're in this emotional state where everything seems like crazy and chaotic. And then once you feel these emotions that are more lethargic but obsessive, such as fear, which grips you and you feel like you're frozen and you can't do anything, the lever which represents your emotional state moves down, and you become so taken with this emotion or these few emotions that you kind of like become paralyzed, or you obsess over this one incident. Maybe like you see you were in this car crash and you have this trauma from that, and that grips you in the moment. And so your emotional state becomes this obsessed, kind of paralyzed state. And so in between this chaotic or this excited chaotic state and this lethargic obsessive state is the state in the middle, which is the state of calmness, or kind of like apathy, but you are more in this general state of calmness, and you are able to function normally and pretty well. And so I don't know. That's my model for the emotions that we each experience in our day-to-day lives.
But I'm sure that the scale itself varies depending on what type of temper you have, like temperament that you have.
Yeah, you might be more.
So for you to get to that calmness, it's like some people might feel better when they're in that, happy, chaotic, like near the bottom, and some people might feel happier when they're like at the top. And
which is why it's helpful to know your personality type. You might be more prone to this excited, happy state, or these few emotions compared to these other emotions which you rarely experience. And that's just a general model, but for each person, they have their own unique
balance
threshold of stimulation. Some people might need a lot more of that happy emotion to reach that state of calmness. Some people can't handle anger. They have a really small threshold for that emotion, and so some people might have a really large threshold for all the emotions. It depends
which personality do you think has that?
For all the emotions, the large threshold?
Yeah.
I would say I do.
Yeah. ENFP, maybe? ENFP? No.
Perhaps the people with feeling as their last or their weakest trait might not be as sensitive, maybe.
But you guys still have it, so you guys can still practically use it. But it's a weakest function.
Yeah, we can still use it. It's just that we might not be as sensitive to emotional stimuli or incidents.
I guess the question that I asked is very actually really is up to the interpretation of what type of emotion we're talking about, right? Even though I did say the most adaptability. Well, I mean, no flexibility in terms of who is the most adaptable in all spectrum. I don't know. What's the track of thought? Go ahead.
No, I think I was pretty much done. I think so. When I was saying that I was a hybrid of both of you, I guess I have this ability to calmly. I can recognize when someone is going through a certain emotional state, which would be FE, I guess. And then for FI, I can detach myself emotionally from their emotion and find a way to get them back to that calm state, I guess. So I wouldn't shy away that in the way that maybe Sime would, but
That's maybe why they say that ENTs are kind of leaders for the underdogs, because you guys do have FE and you guys generally do want the best for people. Because I even remember in the first meetup that we had, that when you have a good plan, that your first priority is to get everyone on board because you know that it's the best for everyone. Whereas, you know, for other people, it might be for like more selfish purposes. Like you actually know that whatever that you're planning is to carry people along with you, which I find is actually quite interesting, considering that, you know, like when people think of ENTJs, that they're just bossy for their own good, but they're actually doing it for others.
They're very humanitarian.
Even at the, you know, risk of their well-being, it's like they do it for others, and they actually put a lot of burden on their shoulders. And I think that's kind of like really dismissed a lot in like the common portrayal of you guys, because I don't know, I guess you guys don't usually come off as emotional, you know, and like you said, like you can understand why people feel the way they feel, but because you don't really want to you don't want them to dwell on those emotions much, that even though you understand, you would rather choose to like kind of like dismiss it, even though like, I wouldn't say dismiss, like you would rather like make them feel better by maybe not emotionally comforting them, but maybe creating a system that they can feel better in, if that makes any sense.
I guess it would be both. So I know that comforting them would be the gateway to that better state in the world where they'd feel better. So that would be the first step, comforting them, because some people just need to be comforted. And after that, finding a way to get them to reach that state of calmness again. Like I might say, how about we go out to eat at this restaurant? I can pay for both of us. And then we go out there, because once you, this is scientific, once you start eating, you automatically release those stress hormones, and you automatically reach this state of relaxation when you're eating, because you associate eating with this sense of peace and sense of safety. Like you don't eat while you're in the emergency room operating on a patient or anything. You associate eating with like family and warmth and so on and so forth, friends. And so after that, I might say, if say the person was crying for an hour, I might I might offer my help if they don't know what to do, or I can try saying, I can maybe try to help you find someone that can help you with.
This reminds me of like this post that I was looking at the other day. It was like dating styles of each personality types, and then for the ENTJ, it says something about how if like their loved ones are having a problem, that they're the first one to take in charge to like take care of everything, because that's their first like initial, like, because they know that instinctively they know what is bothering them the most, that they will take charge of whatever is causing them the problem. Sorry.
Kind of like, you know how I sent you that light Yagami GIF?
Yeah.
Where he's like smiling because he's like the puppet master in Death Note. Anyway, so when I try to find a solution, it's oftentimes for the greater good, and not everyone is going to go on board with it. Let's say there are 10 people, maybe 5 of them will get on board. And so knowing that as reality, I don't try to get everyone on board, but I'm kind of like a vigilante, where I do things for the greater good even when people don't realize it, or people might hate me or might not accept me for how I view things or the way that I do things, even though that way might be the right way and lead to the greater good.
Do you ever feel the need to explain yourself ever?
Not unless it will yield me some I don't know. I don't know.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, do you persuade people first to do what you want to do, or do you do what you want to do first and then persuade people after?
I would say it depends on which way would be the most successful, depending on the circumstances. So I could persuade people first and then do it, or I could do it first and then persuade people. I guess you could look at it by who you're targeting, or that sounds so dark.
like a game or something, like living.
Yeah, kind of like those dating sims, like it depends on the person, like the circumstances and the person you're dealing with.
Yeah. Right.
Some people might need you to persuade them first, or some people might need you to show them first.
Yeah.
This is one thing that I was interested in. This will go into philosophy, but what are both of your value systems or ethical leanings, I guess?